What if the person who saved a NASA mission wasn't a scientist, but a janitor? What if brilliance could come from someone the world often ignores? This is a true story about a man who changed everything without anyone noticing until it was almost too late. Welcome to TaleSync, where beautiful stories teach you real English and powerful life lessons. Today, prepare to see genius in the most unexpected place. Chapter 1: A Silent Dreamer. In the shadows of greatness, some souls quietly burn with a light no one sees. Jared Moore was one of them. Not a scientist, not an astronaut, just a janitor, or so people thought. Born in a small industrial town, Jared grew up surrounded by machines, wires, and hardworking people who knew how to fix things with their hands. He never had the money or grades to pursue college, but he had something else: an eye for details, a calm mind, and a genuine love for how things work. As a boy, he'd take apart radios and put them back together, amazed by how invisible waves turn into voices. He was a curious mind in a world that rarely rewards quiet curiosity. Chapter 2: Inside NASA's Walls. When Jared joined NASA in 1965, no one asked about his past. He was hired to clean, and that's what he did. But while cleaning, he watched, listened, and noticed. He saw equations on boards in red, missing logs thrown in the trash. He didn't understand everything, but slowly, over years, he began to grasp the basics of systems, wiring, and protocols. He never interrupted meetings, but he absorbed like a sponge. He knew which engineers were sharp, which ones were careless, and which systems seemed too complex for their own good. He had no title, but he had a presence. When you pay attention long enough, you start seeing patterns even the experts miss. Jared once told his wife. Chapter 3: The Flawed System. In early June 1969, something kept bothering Jared. A particular room where communication systems were frequently tested always had an odd hum, barely audible but irregular. At first, he thought it was nothing, but kept returning. He traced it to a panel. The buzz was soft, but it wasn't always there. One day it was louder. One day it was gone. This inconsistency nagged him. He remembered an old lesson from his days fixing televisions. A dying wire doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. He mentioned it to a young engineer he had helped before. The engineer nodded politely, but did nothing. Jared didn't give up. He mentioned it again, this time louder, with urgency. Chapter 4: A Reluctant Inspection. Eventually, out of respect, or maybe just curiosity, a small team agreed to check the panel. What they found shocked them: a grounding issue. The system was occasionally shorting. Nothing major, yet. But during launch or re-entry, it could have caused a total blackout of internal communications between the command module and mission control. That single discovery launched a chain of emergency checks. Other minor faults were found. Corrections were made. The entire subsystem was reinforced. The engineers who discovered it, they got praise. The janitor who warned them, he got silence. Chapter 5: The Launch. On July 16th, 1969, Apollo 11 launched. The world watched. Inside Mission Control, tension ran high. Every system, every second, every signal mattered. When Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon and said, "That's one small step for man," the world erupted in joy. Jared was in the break room, watching on a grainy black and white TV with other janitorial staff. He smiled, not because of pride, but because he knew something few others did. It worked. That's all that matters, he whispered. Chapter 6. Years later. NASA never officially credited Jared. It wasn't personal. It's just that janitors don't usually make headlines. But one man remembered. In 1994, a retired systems engineer published a memoir. Buried in a footnote was a story about a janitor who insisted on checking a panel. A man who may have saved the Apollo mission. The book never became famous, but a few readers caught the line. Sometimes it's the unnoticed who notice what matters most. Chapter 7. The Unsung Genius. Today, Jared's story is shared among NASA veterans like folklore. Some say he exaggerated. Others say he was essential. But no one denies this. He cared. He noticed. He acted. And sometimes that's all it takes to change history. Jared Moore passed away in 2002. He left behind no medals, no degrees, no titles. But he left behind a legacy far bigger than most people with offices ever could. Moral and English learning points. 1. Sometimes the smallest actions prevent the biggest disasters. 2. Greatness doesn't need a title. 3. Real purpose is knowing your role and owning it. 4. Never underestimate quiet people with sharp eyes. Key English phrases. 1. Out of nowhere, unexpectedly. 2. He noticed what others missed. Sharp observation. 3. They looked at each other in disbelief. Idiomatic emotion. 4. Unsung hero. Someone who did something great without being recognized. 5. Every job has dignity. Every role matters. 6. Buried in a footnote. Hidden detail in a document or book. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs to believe in themselves. Like, subscribe, and join us at TaleSync for more real English through real stories.